Some days, the last place I want to be is in the gym. I'm tired, unmotivated, and honestly would rather do anything else.
This is how I make it happen anyway. Oftentimes, the hardest part about getting started is really just getting yourself through the door. Some of my best workouts have been on days when I really didn't feel like it, but one of the biggest lessons I've learned on my fitness journey is that movement creates motivation. It's kind of the same principle when you've been avoiding a task for a while. Just do something for 5 minutes. I think it was actually a Mel Robbins podcast that I heard this in, but if you're avoiding doing the dishes, maybe just wash 2 dishes. But once you get started, you often find a little bit of momentum and keep going. So on days when I really don't feel like going to the gym, instead of trying to force myself into some crazy workout, I like to lower the stakes a little bit. Instead of having the best workout of my life today, all I have to do is get through the door. And whether that ends up being just stretching for a few minutes and a walk on the treadmill, or actually hitting a really awesome workout, kind of depends on how I feel once I get here. But the most important part is just getting here. And maybe I do end up just doing a little bit of mobility work, but I've still done something, right? Not only is that really great for rest and recovery and just the overall longevity of my body, but I often feel like things like mobility work and just going for a simple walk are really underrated when it comes to health and fitness. Now, this definitely isn't always gonna be the case. Some days you're just really not having it. And sometimes that's your body telling you maybe you do need a rest day. And I really struggled with this at the beginning, kind of learning the difference between I don't want to and I'm pushing the limits of my body and neglecting recovery. And I think the best way that I found to really figure that out is to just step in the gym and start with some light stretching and a little bit of walking. And I'd say 8 times out of 10, after a few minutes on the treadmill, my body starts to feel really good. The endorphins start going. And frankly, I already drove all the way here. So usually by this point, I want to make the most of the time and effort it took me to actually get here. And if it is one of those days when you're just not having it, that's okay. You still at least took the effort to show up for yourself and stick to the plan, which is putting you one step closer to just building that consistency habit, which can be so hard in the early stages of a fitness journey. Another thing that's been so helpful for me to lower the barrier of entry, I guess you could say, on days when I really just don't feel like coming to the gym, is to just lower the amount of thinking and mental energy that goes into showing up and doing my workout. And for me, that looks like picking a workout plan and sticking to the same workouts for at least 8 weeks at a time. I kind of just like to look at it as one less thing to worry about, right? That way, once I'm here, I already know what the plan is and I'm not having to go through the mental exercises of trying to figure out what I'm actually going to do now that I'm here. I've got a plan and all I need to do is simply show up and put in the reps. There's also going to be times throughout the month when the weights just feel a little bit heavier than they usually do. So sometimes when I'm really not feeling it, instead of skipping it all together, I'll just go a little bit lighter on the weights. Every workout is not going to be your best workout, and that's okay, because I think more important than having the best workout ever is having consistent workout habits and a consistent healthy routine. Another huge unlock for me to get into the gym, even on the days when I really don't feel like it, is to shift my focus from how much the work is gonna suck, because sometimes it really sucks. Shoulder days are such a burner. I like to focus instead on how good I'm gonna feel afterwards. Because as much as the burn is real sometimes, I don't think I've actually ever regretted a workout. And really, a lot of the most rewarding things I've accomplished in my life have come with a little bit of suck, a little bit of grit, and a little bit of dedication to push through some days that were just hard. And if this were something that were easy, everybody would be doing it. But the rewards are so worth the effort. You're gonna be that much more proud of yourself because you're gonna remember how much effort it took to show up on the days that you didn't want to. If we made all of our decisions based on our emotions, I feel like a lot of us would be in some deep shit. My life would be a literal dumpster fire compared to the organized hot mess express vibes that we've got going on. If you think about how you feel when you wake up on a Monday morning, if you acted based on how you were feeling, I feel like a lot of us wouldn't be at work on Mondays. Emotions are really powerful, but they're also really fleeting, and being able to make decisions beyond those emotions with your future goals and the things that you really desire the most in life in mind is a skill that is drastically underrated. And once you really develop this muscle, I feel like you can really accomplish anything. Health and wellness aside, this is the kind of skill that really bleeds into other areas of your life. If you get used to the discomfort and pushing yourself through it and constantly bettering yourself despite how you might be feeling, you're gonna see that you have more of the ability to do that with maybe a really hard work project, but you know the reward at the end is gonna be amazing. So you find yourself putting in those late nights and early mornings, maybe with a little bit less resistance. Or maybe you've noticed it's a little easier to say no to the nightly sweet treat because you know that's not serving your long-term goals. And that used to be something you really struggled with. Once you start to get used to and really fall in love with the feeling of being uncomfortable, because pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone is where all of the growth happens in life, you're going to see that you become stronger in all areas of your life. And I think the biggest myth with health and wellness that was a huge shock to me to learn personally was that motivation is kind of a lie. I would say more often than not, I'm kind of dreading the gym just a little bit. Especially after like a long, busy work day, sometimes the last thing I want to do is come and put in even more work. The results don't come from how hard you push yourself every time you're in the gym. The results come from when you're showing up consistently despite how you feel and constantly working on forward progress, even if it's just a little bit. And this next tip might seem a little bit simple, but if you're someone like me, you will know the power of the dopamine hit of checking something off your to-do list. I don't know what it is, but something about that feeling, checking the box, makes me feel so unbelievably accomplished. It's kind of ridiculous, but learning to use stuff like that to your favor is such a big life hack. So I literally started putting go to the gym on my daily to-do list. That way, if I start to do that little mental dance with myself where I'm trying to talk myself out of my workout, that's inevitably going to either come with an unfinished to-do list or having to mark out the gym and kind of just see that decision play out like physically in front of me. Something about that little extra step of writing it down, it gives me that little bit of extra accountability. An accountability buddy can be another good tool for helping you show up on the days that you don't want to. The idea here really is to put systems in place that help you show up in the way that you want to, even when your emotions are getting in the way. And maybe you don't have a gym friend. This is my application to be your virtual gym buddy, but there's also so many great community spaces online, maybe a local Facebook group or a run club. I know in my town, we have a weekly run club, and that can be a great way to have something that feels a little bit more concrete on your schedule than just showing up at the gym. I really struggle with early morning workouts, so one way that I've put that extra layer of accountability in place is taking a morning workout class that comes with a cancellation fee. And without that cancellation fee, you are not going to see me anywhere near a workout at 5 a.m., but something about the possibility of being charged $20, I will absolutely shoot out of bed when the alarm goes off. Another really great way to get in the habit of showing up even when you don't feel like it is to put some fun rituals or maybe rewards in place around things that you know that you resist the most. Maybe this looks like a morning matcha as a reward for hitting the gym at 5 a.m. on a Monday. For me lately, this has looked like a trip to my favorite smoothie shop after a really hard leg day. Me and leg day have been on rocky grounds lately, so sometimes I just need that little extra push, knowing that that smoothie bowl is waiting on the other side of those Bulgarian split squats that I dread so much. And when it really comes down to it, sometimes I just have to remind myself that building the life that I want and building the body that I want isn't going to be easy. The life I'm chasing isn't going to be built on easy days. Goodness, these burn. And if it was easy, everyone would be doing it and we'd all be walking around looking like muscle mommies. And I really believe that deep down, if it was easy, it really wouldn't be that rewarding. So maybe today wasn't my best workout ever, but any workout is better than a skipped workout. And my mood has done a complete 180. If I were to show up only on the days that I felt like it, I am 100% confident that I would not be where I'm at today. It's really hard to live in a body that doesn't make you feel proud and that isn't feeling energized. It's also really hard to show up every day in the gym, even when it sucks. It's really just about choosing your hard. Because at the end of the day, for me, living in a place where I just wasn't happy with the lifestyle I was living actually felt worse for longer than the 20-minute workout that I didn't want to do. So for me, putting in the 20 minutes to an hour of really hard work every day is so much better and honestly so much easier than living the life that I was living before. So this is your sign. If you're just not really feeling like showing up at the gym today, put on your tennis shoes, maybe grab for your favorite pair of leggings, and cue up your all-time favorite playlist. And just start with maybe 10 to 15 minutes of gentle movement. And I 100% guarantee that even if you don't end up finishing the workout from there, you're going to feel better than when you started. And if you just don't really know where to get started, or maybe you're not feeling confident to start stepping into the gym, watch this video here. I think it's really gonna help.